Jesus Christ, Joe. What do you do?
I think we're gonna go back and get a bit of jungle, a bit more hardcore and a bit
I saved her.
Yeah, there's no secret. I hate The Last of Us Part 2. I fell madly in love with The Last of Us Part 1, so of course when Part 2 was dropping, I was excited, but very quickly got let down. I personally thought my reasonings were valid, however, most of the assumptions I got were pretty surface level reasonings for not liking things that were just not true. So of course, like any reasonable human being, my solution was to make a YouTube video about it, which I actually did. I just never posted it. However, HBO, the second love of my life, decided to announce the fact that The Last of Us was being made into a show. Not only is this a great opportunity to talk about the flaws of the second game, but could also easily be an opportunity to fix the issues and mistakes in The Last of Us Part 2, and officially giving The Last of Us a proper sequel. Yeah, I'm never doing that wishful thinking stuff again. Well, my main wish was that the show fixed the problems from the game, and it did. Actually, it fixed a lot of issues. We'll go in order of the show, and the first main issue with the game, and possibly the largest one, is Joel's death. It seems like the root of all the game's issues is that the characters just do things. Even if it's out of character, they just make actions that result in where the writers want the story to go, rather than acting in character in situations, as well as some pretty horrible pacing issues. Joel, whom we all know and love from the first game, spends 4 years in this town where the community loves him and he loves the community, decides to go into a room of armed strangers that he doesn't know and completely lets his guard down. Some people make the argument that in these 4 years, Joel has calmed down and started to let his guard down, which for context with Joel and Tommy feels completely out of character. The closer Joel gets to a place or someone, he puts his guard even higher to make sure that he doesn't lose something that he loves again. We can see this countless times in the first game, but in the second game, Jesse actually mentions it. Joel is always asking about Ellie, making sure she's safe on her patrols when she's out of town. My problem is not that they killed Joel's character, it's that they spit on his character for the sake of moving the plot forward. But guess what? The show fixes that issue. Rather than Tommy and Joel being super excited to tell these random armed strangers they're surrounded by their names and social security number, Abby is the one who hears Joel's name from Dina calling out to Joel. This makes everyone in the story and the writing itself seem smarter and more logical, but it's not just that. Joel joins Abby and her friends willingly, which seems a little bit too soft for Joel, but HBO decides to build towards Joel's decision. In the last episode, it seemingly weighed heavy on Joel's heart when it came to letting in survivors and outcasts. Maria reminds him that he was once a survivor as well, and needed a place to stay. This not only allows Joel's decision to save Abby and be more comfortable in a room with these random people, but also just gives Joel a character arc in The Last of Us 2, rather than just killing him off the bat. Or should I say off the club?
No, you're done.
It wasn't that bad. I honestly think that's the only positive thing I can think of right away with this show. Oh yeah, episode 6 was great, but it's a really good example of HBO's Last of Us issue, and that as good as something is, it's sacrificing something great from the game. Which leads me to... Honestly, I'm not sure where to start. Okay, never mind. We'll just go straight to Joel's death. If I take a step back at the entire Jackson battle, as cool and fun as it was to watch, it comes across as very convenient. Like, Abby and her friends decide to move in and kill Joel when 1, he's very, very vulnerable, and 2, Jackson just so happens to be going down in a Game of Thrones type battle against a massive horde of zombies. It is so ridiculously convenient for Abby. Episode 1 is so slow and very tedious. The show took the opportunity to build the different characters and introduce them in the first episode, but at the sacrifice of the latter half of the season being really rushed. I think perhaps one of the most annoying issues issues is Dina and Ellie. By the way it's written, at first, they're two really insufferable brats who do unbelievably stupid stuff. In the game, the farthest the two go to ridiculous, stupid decisions is at the beginning when they decide to hook up and smoke some weed while they're on patrol. Though this clearly wasn't a good idea, it's more understandable considering they were in the middle of a blizzard and really had nothing better to do. In the show, the two go into an infected building alone, which clearly was a horrible idea since it leads to Ellie being bitten and almost killed. They don't even paint it as a character flaw, nor do they even try to hide it. But truly the biggest issue in this, and possibly the biggest issue of the entire show, is Ellie. In the game, Ellie comes across as cold and heartless, when in reality, as the story goes on, we realize she's really traumatized and broken, which you can feel even visually in the game. Everything is dark, bleak, depressing, especially the longer you're in Seattle. In the show, before and after Joel dies, she's pretty bratty and entitled, and far too joyful and happy on this literal revenge mission to go murder the people who killed her father figure. In the game, Dina is similar to how Ellie acts in the show, however it's a lot more subtle. Dina does this in response to chaos and stress. She tries to slide humor into serious situations to, in reality, keep herself and those around her sane, which works for a time until it doesn't. In the show, Dina is far more mature acting than Ellie, and far more serious in this mission, and really is the only one calling the shots. And also the only one that's really explored emotionally in the first half of the show, especially more than Ellie, which makes it feel like Ellie is just the annoying, witty side character, and Dina is the main angry, revenge-seeking protagonist. They got it all backwards. Ellie doesn't take this seriously at all. In the game, she is pissed that Dina was hiding the fact that she was pregnant from her. Here, Ellie is excited, and they even try and slip in their hookup scene, not at the beginning of the game, but halfway through Seattle. Like, what in the world were they thinking? And the cherry on top of all that is that instead of giving us time with Ellie after finding that out, Dina is just still fighting the fight with Ellie even though she's pregnant. In the game, immediately after finding out, it wasn't even an argument, it wasn't even a conversation. She just stayed in the theater for the rest of the game. But in the show, she goes right back into the action, risking the life of her own child. And Ellie is completely cool with it. She even wants that. Like, Ellie's character is so badly butchered in the show, it completely changes the other characters around her. And not just Dina, like Jesse too. We don't get very much time with Jesse at all, sadly, and the times that we do, instead of turning him into a lovable and loyal friend, he turns into the one side of a constant, never-ending argument between Ellie, Dina, versus Jesse. He comes across as mad and annoyed all season long, and it's very understandable. He has to put up with Dina and Ellie's ridiculous BS all season long, and is rarely appreciated for it. The problem with that is that he inevitably dies trying to protect his friends, and there's no real emotional connection, at least not compared to the game, since all we've ever seen of him in the show is just the hostile conversations between him and Ellie. The game, you know Jesse's a great guy by his actions and everything he's done up until this point, and in the show they literally just outright tell you. Jesse even says it himself, I'm a good guy. And then they try and write it off as, oh, he's doing all these things because they would do the same for him, which is told to us, not shown to us, and it's also just kind of unbelievable considering how horrible their relationship has been up until this point. It's been nothing but arguments, hostility, and zero to no connection. I feel like the writers just had zero idea what they were doing with Ellie all season long. And possibly the worst of her character was the finale episode. So they completely throw out the heartless killer Ellie in the game and have almost this saint-like Ellie who's worried about random people she's never met. There's a scene in the finale show where Ellie's going to risk everything, her entire life, possibly even Jesse's, just to save a scar that she's never seen before, never met, doesn't know. Compared to Ellie in the game, who killed countless scars just because they were in the way of her revenge with Abby. As well as in the finale, she tries to save Mel after she shot her. I mean, the girl started trying to give Mel a C-section. Like, bro, let's take a step back for a second. This is one of the people who had part in killing Joel, and Ellie is getting on her knees trying to save her and her baby. Why in the world is Ellie going out to Seattle on a revenge mission, and in the end, she's trying to save the people she's getting revenge on? It completely misunderstands the point of The Last of Us Part 2 and Ellie's character is just a complete airball. There's also so many just dumb moments in this show. For one, Ellie, when she's on her way to the aquarium, just gets flipped over by a massive wave and ends up washing up on shore, which was not a part of the game whatsoever. She gets dragged by a couple of scars and is about to get lynched by them until, so conveniently, it's the same exact time that the WLF was waging war on the scars. It's very similar to how Abby just so happened to show up and try and kill Joel at Jackson when there's an entire battle with infected going on. The other silly idea is that Abby is supposed to be the next WLF leader after Isaac. The only thing we've seen of Abby being a leader is her going to Jackson to kill Joel, which is not only incredibly stupid and the opposite of what a good leader would do. The person who is leading and wore the big boy pants in the group going out to Jackson was Owen, who was by far the most mature and sensible one there. So I beg the question, why does Isaac want Abby to be the next leader so badly? In the game, it's pretty obvious why. Abby is an absolute machine and a monster. I mean, just look at those biceps. They're bigger than my head.
That's a lie, your head's pretty big.
Which of course was just left out of the show, and it makes the whole idea of Abby being the top scar killer and the next leader of the WLF seem ridiculous and stupid. Now, the very technical issues outside of the writing and more so the production side of things are just as bad. Mainly the casting. I think it was clear and obvious to anyone not biased and having a couple of brain cells in their head, it was going to be a hard stretch to make Bella Ramsey into the cold-hearted killer that Ellie was in the game. But even if they did recast, that doesn't warp all of the horrible writing away. Ellie looks and feels like a kid. It's almost like a duo slam down of the horrible casting and horrible writing. I also don't like the narrative of just making it seem like it's all Bella Ramsey's fault, who has zero control of the writing and casting. As well as, whether you like it or not, Abby's frame and character design were a core and integral part of her character. Her muscles were a representation of her burning passion to get revenge and kill Joel, and even after she did kill him, that muscle was still there. Almost a visual representation of how it all meant nothing. All that time, all that training, all that hard work, just to find out that it would never bring her father back. Until she found a real purpose for it, which is not to kill the one she hates, but protect the one she loves. And while it's not a flawlessly written story in The Last of Us Part 2, it definitely seems a lot better than the show so far. Taking away Abby's muscle is almost like rebranding her character completely. Can they still pull it off? Yes, but even so far, I see a plot hole in that Isaac's reasoning for needing Abby as a wolf soldier. It's stuff like this that, from an outside perspective, may seem like a small issue, but if you really dive in, it shows how their character designs are important to, well, the character. And it feels like they're so comfortable taking away these things, and it shows that the writers simply don't understand these characters. All in all, the entire show is a complete mess, and it's not looking good for The Last of Us. However, this show did have an absolutely amazing effect. It actually made me go back and play The Last of Us Part 2. But you know what? I actually kind of loved it. The first time I played the game, I couldn't stand it. I was even comfortable saying I hated it, but somehow the adaptation was literally so bad that it made me go replay a game that I could not stand, and I actually really appreciated it. It doesn't erase the terrible writing moments in the game, but it makes me appreciate it for what it was and what they attempted to go for. But then again, that's just me. What'd you guys think about The Last of Us Season 2? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What'd you think of the game? Did you love that, hate that, indifferent about it? Let me know. Drop a comment. Don't make me look like a crazy guy just yapping to no one. Actually leave a comment. And while you're there, you can like the video. And while you're there, you can drop a sub. That would be awesome. And while you're there...